What were the biggest takeaways against the Miami Dolphins? Who was the biggest winner and loser of Week 3 of the preseason? All that and more on the latest Eagles postgame live. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Eagles Postgame Live. Guys, the Eagles took the L here against the Miami Dolphins. We're breaking down our top takeaways. Who is on the bubble? Who made the roster tonight? Who are the biggest losers? Joining me for the first time ever, hopefully the first time of many times, my man Big Al of Edge of Philly Sports. What is going on, man?
What's going on, Dives? As we were saying right off air, it's hard to take much of anything away from this game. You know, like they started their starters. Here comes Tua. Here comes Tyreek Hill, and I'm like, what? What's this noise? And like, it's just really hard to take anything away, except some of the missing points that we'll talk about shortly.
Yeah, the entire pregame, me and my man LJ were like, God, I really hope Cam Jurgens doesn't play. God, I hope Jordan Davis doesn't play. Do you play Nakobe Dean? God. And then Miami Dolphins are like, hold my beer. We're going to play our offensive starters and it basically throughout the entire premise of Week 3 of the preseason. I don't know if you agree or disagree with Miami Dolphins playing their starters. I get they have chemistry issues. I get they need to get those guys on the field, but at least on my end, preseason means absolutely nothing. That was incredibly lucky that they majority escaped injury there. So what was your take on Miami playing the starters? And really, I mean, it threw out at least the first half of meaningful football, you know, in terms of evaluating who makes or doesn't make this roster.
Simple takeaway, dumb. Just dumb on Miami's part. Some young guy trying to make a team tries taking Tyreek Hill's head square off his shoulders, and that cost you a season. I know they're not like 100% on the Tua train, but I still don't understand. He's your guy for right now, unless something else comes up. But it makes no sense. I mean, they shredded us the first, what was it, 4 plays, 2 of them to Tyreek Hill for the first touchdown. So I don't get what they were thinking. I don't know if it was because of that whole illness that struck the team, that they felt like they needed to get them time. But if Tua and Tyreek aren't ready week 1, there's more than this game that's going to get them on the same page.
We have Jose in the house. No disrespect towards the Eagles. I believe in the Miami Dolphins. Win, Dolphins win. Listen, you guys are going to have a top 10 offense. I like what they got going on there in Miami. I just wholeheartedly disagree with putting these guys into such a meaningless, preseason game where that could have giant ramifications. Like, injuries are a real thing in football. You look across the NFL. Chase Young is out for a long period of time. The Cowboys just lost a big piece of their offensive line. Kayvon Thibodeau is out 3 to 4 weeks. Like, injuries happen. We just saw Trevor Penning of the Saints go down just a few hours ago. It's a real thing. I can't believe they do it. But let's break down who or what are our biggest takeaways of this one. I'm going to just throw this right in here. I think the winner of today, my man Reed Blankenship, he was kind of on the bubble, but you look at this guy and he has just shown up again and again and again, making plays, showing some of that versatility, being a special teamer, impact special teamer. I think Reed Blankenship deserves to be on this roster. You look across the board, Anthony Harris, Jaquiski Tart, those guys are constantly not in the right position. Those guys are not the veteran kind of leadership you're looking for on this defense. Meanwhile, Reed Blankenship shows up every day, every game, and he plays with great confidence. He has really good size. I like his poise. What's your take on Reed Blankenship? I think he's the winner for that.
Smart. He's a smart player. He's never out of position. He knows what to do, when to do it. Where he lacks in maybe some of the natural talents, he makes up in intelligence, and that's what you need to see from a guy like that. Yeah, like you said, Tart is like he looks like a foosball table character, man. He's just all over the place, so not knowing where to be and when to be. And I was actually kind of big on when they brought him in. I'm like, okay, Tart, he could be helpful. This could be. I'm not saying this is like a huge signing from Howie, but I thought he would be a lot better. Either he just doesn't know what he's doing, he doesn't understand the playbook yet, or I overestimated or overvalued him. And I believe our boy Jose here spelled win Dolphins win. It should be swim Dolphins swim. He dropped the S on that. I mean, listen, the Dolphins have a great offense. You're absolutely correct. Anytime you got Tyreek Hill on your offense, you're easily should be in the top 10.
I agree. Yeah, I think Reed Blankenship, man. I think he's a lock for this roster, just like we saw with Josh Jobe. I think Josh Jobe through 2 games and multiple joint practices, like he deserves to be on this roster. I'm sorry, the veterans on this roster. I hope it's not a numbers game because Reed Blankenship has brought it, and Reed Blankenship earns a spot on this roster. Who's one of your guys or takeaways from this game you want to talk about?
I mean, if you want to go there, Deion Kane here is a guy who I think is just making, like, we talk about Greg Ward as Mr. Shorehands. I mean, Deion Kane is doing that as well. Him and Minshew definitely have a connection. I don't think it'll be very hard for Jalen Hurts to have the same connection with him and be that short yardage, sure hands, in the middle of the field kind of guy. So he's making it. And I even, like, when I say, like, the wide receiver core is going to be really difficult to chop up in some ways. Because Devin Allen, man, he could really, at least special teams, put something out there and make you think about it.
Yeah, here's Devin Allen today. His ability as a gunner to run down the field and make plays like this, like he's the first one down there every time. Like he's got some Papali in him, where he's gonna put stress on an opposing special teams unit. Man, that speed is real. And he made several plays in this game that you could argue is a more impactful, more clear-cut pathway to this final 53-man roster than being an edge burner at wide receiver. I think Devin Allen is a huge winner of the day. And like you said, it's like this Eagles wide receiving group is arguably the best I have seen in a long time. When you
since T.O., I'm going to put it out there, since T.O.
It's deep. It's really deep, man. And you talk about Deion Kane, who I think should also make this roster. The dude's hands are unbelievable. We have been pounding table in Philadelphia for wide receivers that can make plays on a ball, just like Deion Kane. And this guy comes in. He's terrific. I think your top 4 are locked in. I think you've got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. You've got Quez Watkins, Zach Pascal. And then after that, man, if they can just find a way, if Howie can just find a way to find a suitor for Jalen Reagor, the roster would be better for it. I
think anybody who's interested in Jalen Reagor at this point waits till Tuesday. Yeah. I mean, if he just keeps him around just because he was that first-round pick. Because here's my thing is, I know you've had my boy Matty B on the show, and if you know anything about Matty B, he is not a Howie fan. And for a very long time, I was probably in the same boat. Over the last year and a half, I always said, like, I'm not on the Howie train yet, but Howie's just done everything we asked him to do right. He went and drafted from big-name schools, like Alabama. Finally, after all these years, he's just they put some investment in the linebacker core, something they haven't done for a long time. He's just been missing and thinking of being the smartest man in the room, and finally said, okay, well, let me think a little differently. And he showed that. What would really solidify me a little bit more as a Howie guy would be as he cut Reagor and said, yeah, I screwed up. And if he can get somebody for him, even better. But that I can't say before Tuesday's cuts unless you're a bag of balls that you really don't need anymore.
Yeah, Jalen Reagor is going to be on this roster, and to be fair, he's had a very good camp. But yeah, I mean, I'm the biggest Howie hater there is, but you can't deny the last two drafts. The last two drafts are looking like big time wins for the Philadelphia Eagles. You go to 2 years ago, Devontae Landon, Dickerson, Kenny Gainwell, even Marlon Tuipulotu looks like he's going to get those backup nose tackle snaps, which is big, which is really big for a defensive line that has to get home in 2022. Like that's going to allow Javon Hargrave and Fletcher Cox and those kind of guys to, focus on what they do best, which is get after the quarterback. And then you look at this year's draft, which looks like a home run. I mean, Cam Jurgens, Nakobe Dean, I absolutely love what he's been doing the last 2 years. Like my boy Shane has said many, many times, Howie's a great roster rebuilder. He's not a great Super Bowl winning roster builder, if that makes sense.
Well, here's my thing: is he finally looks at contracts. He's always been good at that and figure out numbers and making things fit. He's not a good eye for talent, and he finally starts looking at national championship teams. Well, mind blown. Jordan Davis is a monster. Even if Jordan Davis wasn't as athletic as he is or as fair and quick as he was, he still clogs up the hole. I mean, so he was an easy pick. The fact that he was able to get him, and in my eyes right now, Jordan Davis should have been a top 5 pick easily. And I was surprised he fell back and able to get that, make that happen. So, like, a lot of those kind of things we're seeing from, that's what makes me feel a little bit better about having Howie at the helm right now. And another thing is the Cam Jurgens pick. I got roasted because I did draft night too, and they brought him in and they picked Cam Jurgens. And I'm sitting there doing draft night too, and all the people on my table are like, we don't need a center. We don't have, I mean, yes, we do. We have a center who's great. Don't get me wrong. I am the biggest Jason Kelce fan, but I've heard for a couple of years now that he's ready to retire. And he picked the suitor, and this guy looks like Jason Kelce spit him out. He spit him out, has the same thought process, the same talents, the same abilities. I am so thrilled. Maybe I'm part and partial being a lineman in my past life. I just always like linemen, especially offensive linemen. But you gotta love what you've seen from him. I mean, and even tonight, the fact that he didn't play in tonight's game goes to show how much they feel and they think about him.
Yeah, even Jordan Davis played. Nakobe Dean played. I was so happy about the decision to sit down Cam Jurgens because he was arguably the biggest winner of the entire training camp in preseason. What that guy brought made me even question, can we move this guy into right guard? That's how good this guy was. 2 games. We have Matty B in the house saying, fire Howie.
My boy Matty.
It ain't happening. It ain't happening. He's going to be here for a while. We have Ed in the house. Hey, Al. Huntley just scored on a great run. We're going to have to bring that one up. We decided to go early a little bit given what the score was.
Yeah. This is a post-ish game show. Like, yeah. I mean, let's be honest, the third in this case, but normally the 4th preseason game, it's 90% of these guys aren't making a team. But when they started their starters, like you said, this game kind of fell out a little bit. But now you're at the 4th quarter. Yes, it's good to see Huntley get some, but in my eyes, Huntley is not making this team. He's practice squad at best.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe he could be the returner. I don't know. We'll see. Something that I really want to talk about here, and it's been something that I've been just banging my head against the wall week after week, and that's Reed Sinnett. We're talking about what the heck is going on, or what the heck did Carson Strong do? The fact that Carson Strong, arguably a top 5 undrafted free agent signing across the NFL, comes to the Eagles and doesn't get barely any preseason snaps and can't beat out Reed Sinnett to get some time in the preseason, man. It is one of the most bizarre things I have seen in a long time. The fact that I was sitting and watching this game and pondering, is Reed Sinnett or Clayton Thorson the worst Eagles quarterback I have ever seen in an Eagles uniform? Is wild. Meanwhile, Carson Strong, who I was really high on, we had high grades on this dude across the board. I still don't understand it. Either Carson Strong is so good that the Eagles brass is like, nah, we're good, man. We're going to just kind of let you learn the ropes and we'll get you on the practice squad and it's all gravy, or Carson Strong did something wrong. And they're not going public about it. I don't get it, man. What's your take?
Same confusion. As a guy they signed right away to probably one of the higher deals. Now, like I said, it's like 300 plus thousand, 327, something like that they signed him for. And in the scheme of things, that's chump change. But I don't. It makes zero sense why they haven't at least give the guy any snaps, unless he's really hurt and they don't want anybody to know why. I don't know why they care. They. I mean, I can't imagine they're just like, all right, well, you sit here and just watch. Like, I don't understand how watching Reed Sinnett is really going to help anybody. Reed Sinnett probably vomits watching his own game tape. I don't know why anybody else would want to watch. I'm like, I don't. I mean, like I said, unless they have zero thought of him taking a single snap all year long, even if Jalen Hurts gets hurt, even if Gardner Minshew goes down, are they going to just go, I'm going to go get somebody else? Or is he just not NFL ready? I don't know.
It's mind-blowing, man. I don't have answers. I'm just venting. I'm truly just venting. Like, just punt Reed Sinnett to the moon. Just move on. There's no way that guy makes this final roster. Absolutely no way.
Mm-hmm.
At least this point, two quarterbacks. Yeah. We'll be talking about that all week moving forward before it cuts on Tuesday. I'll throw it to you, man. Who else do you want to talk about?
I don't know. Like I said, Grant Calcaterra, I said earlier off there, he is a guy who I think can make this team, at least for special teams in the beginning. But you know, he's got the abilities. I mean, he was supposed to be, you know, a big name in football until, you know, he left and then he came back. So we'll see. But I really like what he has to offer.
There it is. Like, Grant Calcaterra makes his Eagles debut. I was really happy. And of course, Reed Sinnett missed him on an overthrow where he probably had another 20-yard gain in him. But Calcaterra looked nice. You know, I was really happy to see Calcaterra get on the field. I think he can play in the slot. I think he can play fullback. I think he can get snaps at wide receiver. I think this is a guy that's going to be a nice tight end too, alongside Dallas Goedert. So for me, I was really happy about that whatsoever. I think a takeaway of this game has to be the poor Eagles fans at that stadium. I don't know, man. Get them a swag bag. Get them like some. Get them something. The fact that
this whole Miami week has been weird. The sickness that they had, the things coming out that Darius Slay was getting his ankle snapped in practice. I mean, it's Tyreek Hill. Anybody's getting their ankle snapped in practice. Yes, Mike J, I will agree with you. Kerry Vincent is awful.
He got hurt, I believe.
Yeah, some hamstring. Lower calf area issue. I don't know.
Yeah. Moving forward, Mike J says Calcaterra is making this team. I agree. I
think it's without a doubt.
Yeah, I agree. Let's move on. Anybody else get your attention? We talked about Reed Blankenship. Josh Jobe didn't really play, which is interesting. I think he's a lock. Go ahead.
My one thing is Hightower. Like, where does he fit in the scheme? What's his third year? I mean, he's got some big plays, but it's always against, you know, second, third, and fourth teams. Do they not feel comfortable with him on a starting NFL caliber team?
It's going to be a numbers game for John Hightower. I think he's definitely on the way out, for sure. A guy that I am kind of surprised at, and I totally got this one wrong, was Britton Covey. Britton Covey, he had one reception for 6 yards. I think he had one reception against the Browns in week 2. Mike J says Blankenship is my dark horse to make this. I think he's a lock. Mike J. If you've been watching any of my shows, I've been pounding the table on freaking Blankenship. Actually, I'm going to throw some highlight reels.
Covey has been the darling of everybody's preseason. Everybody was really high on him, and he just kind of fell off the map after week 1.
Yeah, here's some clips of Reed Blankenship because I'm a loser, and this is what I do when I have COVID, and I have COVID right now. I'm fine. But
I've had it twice. I got you.
It's way better than the first time I had it. This second time is like nothing. Just a little congestion. But anyway, I think Britton Covey had an opportunity, and he just couldn't create separation when he had an opportunity. He definitely did not have any chemistry with like Reed Sinnett, like Sinnett did or Minshew did with a guy like Deion Kane. I thought Britton Covey was gonna kind of have the upper hand, especially when it comes to special teams, and he didn't really offer much there either. So Britton Covey, I think, is definitely on the way out. And if you were asked me like a week ago, I would have been like, "Yeah, he's gonna make this team." I don't think that's the case.
I think the moment he that the competition stepped up higher, it kind of became overwhelming for him.
Yeah.
It just seemed that way. Like he had a good first week against the Jets. Of course, we usually see them in the last game of the preseason. We saw in the first game. They're not a great team to begin with. So maybe he was able to strive in that situation. But when he played a little upper tier team such as the Browns and then of course now the Dolphins, it just he fell off the face of the earth, and I don't think he makes a team much either.
I agree. All right. I mean, Patrick Johnson got a sack today, so that's something.
Ross Tucker seems to love him.
Ross Tucker loves every single player.
Well, yeah, like he couldn't talk about Cam Jurgens today, so he had to pick somebody else.
Yeah, Ross Tucker had a good time talking about sushi and deep dish pizza tonight. It's unbelievable, man. That guy is as optimistic as it gets. I remember Marvin Wilson got injured on a play against the Browns, and he was like gushing about Marvin Wilson and his future in the NFL. I'm like, who? Like, that's just Ross Tucker. He's a different breed, especially when he's like gushing about the wave, which I hands down hate the wave. It's one of my least favorite things in all sports. But so we've got some winners. Who is the loser of the week? Do you have a loser? Not a loser of this game against the Dolphins.
Anybody trying to make a team in the beginning of this game was the loser in my eyes. When they started their first string offense, like anybody you were trying to get a good look at and maybe you were really on the bubble with, you're especially on defense, you're not getting that. You're not seeing that. And I kind of feel bad because those guys they're not getting a fair look. And anybody second string defense who are on the bubble to start this game, they're the unlucky losers.
Yeah, in a similar fashion as Eagles fans that traveled all the way down to watch that slop. That's got to be pretty brutal. I'll give it.
At least it's in Miami, not like in Cleveland or New York or North Jersey. You know what I mean? At least if anywhere I'm going to go to a preseason game, Miami would be the place I would want to go.
Yeah, true. Very fair. How about Kayvon Wallace? I'm going to throw Kayvon Wallace out there. While Blankenship kind of states his claim to this roster, like Blankenship has shown me more in 2.5, 3 preseason games than Kayvon Wallace has shown me the last 2 years. I think it's time to move on. And that could be, you could probably lump that statement in with multiple safeties on this roster. But for me, I think Kayvon Wallace is definitely pushing towards out than staying on this roster. He has shown me nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate because he was a guy that I really liked when they drafted. They tried to comparison with Dawkins, which is just outrageous in my eyes, just because they went to the same school. Like that, and he got a little bit of a love from him when he got drafted because they both went to the same school. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, he's done nothing to show. Any chance he had on the field in previous seasons, which were few and far between, he didn't do anything. And like you would think he'd be striving right now on defense, but the fact that I really haven't even talked about him much or saw or take many notes on him goes to show me that he's non-existing.
Yep, I agree. Player of the game. Do you have a player of the game? We'll wrap it up.
Player of the game. Oh, that's a tough one. I don't know. I mean, Hightower is probably the player of the game if you want to go by anything. He had the most yards. I mean, I don't know. Who got the touchdown for this team? It was We missed it while we were on the air. Let's see.
It was so long ago. It was Huntley, right?
Huntley. So yeah, I mean, I can't even give it. We want to give him that. I mean, he's the only one who scored on this team that didn't kick the ball. But I mean, if you want to go by anything, he had 5 for 52 from John Hightower, who's a guy who really needs to make a statement somehow. I want to see him on this team, just to have that burner a little bit. But you know, like you said, it's a numbers game, and he could be odd man out.
Oh my. Carson Strong is in this game. He's thrown 3 passes for 6 yards.
That is more plays than he's had in practice.
My goodness.
I think it's a moment. I think it's just a moment. Anytime in the next year or two, that the joint practices are picked up by some streaming service and we have to pay for or whatever before, and it gets more views than what we're watching on TV right now.
Yeah, loser of the game is preseason. The NFL preseason. Yeah. Something has to change. Now, I tweeted this an hour or so ago. Like you have teams that are not playing starters whatsoever. Then you have teams that play starters in the 3rd game, and the Eagles are benching everybody. Mm-hmm. Like there's nothing makes sense about the preseason. Like just get rid of it. Like when are we just gonna eventually just get rid of it? That's where this is going anyway.
They won't get rid of these games. I mean, look how much money they make on a draft, a spectacle of a schedule release that they have. They're not going to get rid of it. They're getting commercial value, so smaller companies who normally couldn't afford NFL commercial money, they'll still make it. It'll still be on TV, still be televised. We'll still watch it. We'll still do pre- and post-game shows for it. That'll never end. But what I think will happen is they will do some sort of, maybe the Eagles through their app or pick up, like, you know, Amazon Prime will do some streaming service where you pay to watch practices, because there is an added benefit if we could watch the open practice, because that way you're going to see Jalen Hurts do 10 plays in the red zone. You're going to see him connect with an A.J. Brown. You're going to see him connect with Dallas Goedert more than you're going to see on here. You're not going to be able to see those matchups on here.
Yeah, you talk about biggest loser of the game. It's got to be me. Like, I'm the loser. I'm the degenerate that's sitting in front of the TV watching the Eagles scrubs get absolutely destroyed. And yeah, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it.
And as I had 3 screens going today. I had the Phillies on one side. I had the Eagles on the other. Writing an article on another screen. Yeah. No, we're degenerates. It's okay, but we're good degenerates. We're lovable degenerates.
Jay Brown is in the house. Fly Eagles fly, says bring on the season. That's truly the biggest winner of the Eagles preseason is everyone stayed healthy. Everyone stayed healthy. We're all good. Like we said earlier, like there's injuries across the division. The Eagles are sitting nicely heading into week 1 against the Detroit Lions. And I love this comment from Jay Brown. Bring on the season, because I am done. I am done with preseason football.
And the depth looks good, too, for the Eagles. That's another key. O-line depth, D-line depth, linebacker depth, wide receiver core depth. I mean, they got depth across the board for the most part.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of reason for optimism, man. Like you said,
I still want to see a big running back. I want to see a north-south bruiser running back come in. That's the one thing that we're missing.
You can find those anywhere. They'll bring someone in. They'll bring someone in eventually. I don't know if it's going to be week 1. I don't know if it's going to be week 8 or week 11. It's going to be coming. So, yeah. Any other thoughts before we move on? Like, I can't think of anything.
Let's bring on September 11th. Detroit. Yeah. Give us that first W. Let's see it. I'm ready, man. I am ready.
I know. That's really the take is we stayed healthy, and September 11th is just a week and a half away. And that is going to be absolutely fantastic. Walter says preseason almost as bad as the joke bowl. I mean, Pro Bowl. Wow, that's an interesting take. Yeah. So the fact. All right. So here's my take on that is I will watch all the preseason. I refuse to watch the Pro Bowl. What's your take?
100%. I would rather watch this than the Pro Bowl. At least there's some drama behind this, like a guy's trying to make the team, things like that. A guy I work with, who he covers the Eagles. He goes to every Pro Bowl. He goes to every Pro Bowl, and he'll tell me, he goes, "Yeah, the Pro Bowl is actually a really fun thing, but it's like fun thing there. Like you got a lot of one-on-one with players, bring the family. Like if you're there, it's an amazing time to watch. The game's the least important part. It's two-hand touch.
Yeah, it really is. Here's another winner of the day. Howie Roseman, because Trevor Penning is out for the year, and that offensive tackle depth for the New Orleans Saints is getting pretty thin. You have Jameis Winston at quarterback, that New Orleans Saints squad, and that first-round draft pick could get really interesting, and I can't wait to do a weekly report on that draft pick. That is going to be a lot of fun to watch.
That's why I said I'm on Saints watch, just like last year we were on watch. This year I'm going to be on Saints watch, man, because I said that Saints trade is terribly underrated because they're going to be a dog-s team, if you know what I mean. They are going to be bad, and I mean that could definitely be a top 10 pick easily.
Mm-hmm. And there's cornerbacks and edge rushers and interior defensive linemen in that draft that I think are really strong, especially from your boys, Alabama and Clemson, and who am I missing? Georgia, like Jalen Carter, and it's a great draft for the Birds setting up for 2023. But
give another Howie Roseman plus. We have kind of some riches here I mean, not that I would want to right now, but with all the guys going down, you could probably sell Andre Dillard for a first-round pick to some teams who are in big need. Whoever would have thought Andre Dillard for a first-round pick? But I mean, if you think about it, we had depth where we even like Gardner Minshew. I mean, if Carson Strong played better, I would say I could see Gardner Minshew being traded to a team kind of a la Sam Bradford type situation, a team whose quarterback gets hurt. Like, you know, if they didn't have Baker Mayfield in Carolina, and you saw how Sam Darnold sucked anyway, but then rolled his ankle, you know, he could have been gone there, and they could have got a decent couple draft picks for him. So there's another embarrassment of riches, if you want to call it.
Talk about, all right, so here's another loser of the week. I'm going to throw myself in because I was one of the people that thought Jack Driscoll was going to be a potential starter on this offensive line. There was a moment in this game where you had backups, and Jack Driscoll wasn't even on the offensive line. He didn't come in until late in this game. Mm-hmm. I can't believe the meteoric collapse, or I don't know about collapse, but like fall of Jack Driscoll on this offensive line has been pretty interesting. So it's funny how like Andre Dillard has taken like probably 6 steps forward. Like Jack Driscoll probably took at least half of that going backwards.
I think the reason you'll see much Jack Driscoll is because Jack Driscoll's Jack Driscoll, and that's what you're gonna. They know what he is, and I think they know what they're gonna get him. He's gonna be a great backup. He's a Nate Herbig. He's gonna be a guy who probably won't win a starting position outside of injury. But Jack Driscoll played well for us, and I actually like Jack as a backup. As a starter, that's to be seen.
Yeah.
I mean, that left side's scary. Maybe you have Sayamalu at right guard, and then Lane Johnson. But we know Lane's injury history, Sayamalu's injury history. So yeah, we have a lot of depth there. So we'll see where it plays out.
Yeah, that's the plus of this Eagles offensive line depth, because you know what Andre Dillard is. He's not a swing tackle. He can't play left or right. He's a left tackle. However, Jordan Mailata probably will miss some games at some point. So if you get a first round pick, you do the trade immediately. 100%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
100%.
Because then at least you made a wash with Dillard instead of like you did with JJ Arcega-Whiteside and traded for a 7th and up to a 6th. You know what I mean? That's a loss. Rager might just be cut, and there's a first round pick gone.
Yeah. What I do love about this roster is, like you said, the depth in the trenches. I'm a trenches guy. I believe in that wholeheartedly. I love the way the Eagles have doubled down on that throughout the years. So as much as I love Jordan Mailata, I also love having a backup that can step in at a moment's notice, because I don't want to give any excuses to Jalen Hurts. So I love the identity and the soul and the blood and the sweat of this Eagles team being the offensive line. So we'll see. That's another topic for another show. But plugs, man. Let's wrap it up. Where can we find you, man? What's going on over there at Edge of Philly Sports?
Well, as we know, the Painted Lines and EOP have been great company together. Just 3-4 shows a night on anything between. Just on Saturday alone, you had pre and post games. We have a post game coming on after this for the Phillies. The Patterson Fanatics were earlier today. I'm on Wednesday nights at 8:30. And then on Painted Lines at 3 o'clock on the following day on Thursdays. And then you'll be seeing a lot of us pre and post games between, especially when think about it, one more month, we're gonna have all 4 games, all 4 teams going. So there's gonna be a lot of content coming out of here. But go to eopsports.com. Hey, sign up for the newsletter. You get Painted Lines and EOP stuff on the newsletter every Friday that you missed this week.
Love it, man. Monday. Well, tomorrow I'll be dropping a shit ton of highlight reels of everything we saw in the preseason from Nakobe Dean. You saw it during this show. Reed Blankenship, Josh Jobe, Gardner Minshew, everything we saw. Monday will be our Party on Broad roster projection, final 53-man roster projection show. I'm really excited for that one.
I feel like we see what you guys think.
Yeah, I feel like we've been talking about it for like a year, and it's finally happening. It's finally happening that we can like cement it. You know what I mean? I'm excited for House of the Dragon tomorrow.
After we get done this, I'm gonna go watch the first. I caught up on She-Hulk. I know some of your people have not loved it. I've actually really enjoyed it, right. And I'm gonna go watch the first episode of House of the Dragon as soon as we get done here.
Yeah, I'm one of those, like, if you like it, I'm more than happy that you like. I don't care. But House of the Dragon is amazing. Like I'm a Game of Thrones truther, so we'll be doing that tomorrow and power rankings of that as well. Awesome. So yeah, go check out Edge of Philly Sports, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, you name it. If you want it,
TikTok. We're on TikTok.
I don't even know what that is. But anyway, it's there. I'm old. But thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for everyone in the comments tonight. As always, comments were awesome. September 11th can't be here soon enough. So expect pregame, postgame, every single Eagles game going down at Edge of Philly Sports, at the Painted Lines. My man, Big Al, I am Dives. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay awesome.